Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for attending our webinar today. While we wait, I'm going to go over a few housekeeping notes. If you watched our webinars before, you've probably seen my face. My name is Keisha Johnson, host of your webinar today, and also the Senior Marketing Coordinator at DaySmart Salon. I'm super excited to introduce Barb and Karen Fishnick as our special guests today. But before they present, I did want to let you know that your audio and cameras are turned off for the duration of this webinar. But if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the question box, which is located in your dashboard. We're going to do our very best to get to your questions at the end of this webinar, but if we don't, I'll make sure that we include some of those answered questions in your follow-up emails, as long as a recording to this webinar so you can watch it back at your own convenience. I'd like to remind you guys as well that our video library page on the DaySmart Salon website is now available. So if you go on daysmartsalon.com and click the resources tab, you'll see a little icon that says webinars. Just scroll down and you'll find a plethora of all of the previous webinars we've done in the past, including the recording of this one once we upload it online. Now that I have that out of the way, I see more people have joined us. If you want to, please tell us what state and city you're calling in from. And without further ado, let's get started. So I'm so honored to be interviewing this powerful mother and daughter duo, Karen and Barb Fishnick, who will be sharing their insights from their many years of experience in the salon industry. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to you guys and let you two introduce yourselves.
I'm Barb Fishnick, and I am the owner of Classic Cut Salon in Lancaster, Wisconsin. I have done hair for 48 years, and I've owned my own salon, actually 3 salons, for 32 years. We are a full-service salon. We do hair, nails, makeup, lashes, and we are a commissioned salon.
I'm Karen Fishnick. I have been doing hair now for 20 years. I don't like to admit that. So we definitely have a half a century of education, knowledge, and the hair world. It's a crazy place.
Thank you both for that lovely introduction. I just want to get more into the nitty-gritty of your background experience in the industry. I know a lot of our registrants submitted some questions beforehand, and they were very curious about how you guys even entered the industry in the first place. You know, one thing I find fascinating, Barb, is that you became a licensed cosmetologist in 1975 and transitioned to owning your first salon, I believe, in 1992. I'm curious to know what led you to make that transition.
As I worked for other people, I could see things that could be done in a better way. And I felt like I needed to take that next step of my own salon so that I could make those changes. And then everything that I did not like about my previous employers, I tried to incorporate a better way with the staff that I hired. And it's been successful. So I guess it worked out.
Yeah, that's the most important part. Karen, this might sound like an obvious question, but was growing up around your mother at the salon what influenced you to enter the salon industry yourself?
Obviously, yes. That's a yes. I didn't have a choice. I think I was 6 or so when she built her first salon. And so it was just a matter of after school, we lived in town, so there was no bus service. You get to walk to the salon. So when you get out of school, you have to walk to the salon. Well, and then while you're here, answer the phone. So for me, it was just, I was always in that world. I didn't know anything different. And I think it was more, I couldn't see myself doing anything different. It was who we were.
Yeah, it's so rare that you see mother and daughter duos that like work so well and create like such a successful business or salon like in your case. And I know a lot of people were curious about like how that even came about. One of the most frequently asked questions we had from our listeners is, you know, stuff you guys have learned from your path into the salon industry. And one of the most popular questions we got more specifically is, what is something you wish you knew when you were first starting out? And I'll ask that actually to both of you.
Um, I studied a lot and I really, really, really researched. I found people. I got people in my corner. I got an accountant, a banker, a lawyer. And I asked them, what do people need to do? What do I need to do? I want to figure this out. And I never was afraid to ask for help. I reached out everywhere. And then once I got started, I knew what products I wanted to use. I went with a company that could back me 100%, that had a loyalty program, that gave me education. I really feel the products are only as good as the education that you have on how to use those. I continue to grow my people all the time.
For me, it was a
And
little different. I didn't need the banker or the lawyer because she already had them. So
she paved the way.
I definitely would say starting out was get more and more and more education. We all get out of school thinking that we know everything, and you get blasted in the face real quick that you don't. So I actually had the opportunity to be around all the time and watch other people, watch what they do, watch how they cut hair, watch how they speak to people, how they introduce themselves,
Mhm.
and just never ever ever quit going to shows and education. We try so hard to get in-house education because we are so far from civilization. So so we try really hard to get stuff to happen right here. You know, 20 years later, I still feel like I go to education and I always still get something out of it. You know, some stuff may be, you know, a repeat. I learned that twice, I learned that 3 times, you know, but once you see it over and over again, and you have to learn new stuff because trends change, things change, the way people wear their hair changes,
Yeah.
and products and tools, everything. I mean, we didn't have any of this technology stuff when I started. I don't even know if I had a cell phone. So you had to learn. You have to learn all these new things, and that's just how we've done it. Is you have to learn as you go. Actually, you can learn a lot from your clients too. You know, ask them, what do they want? What are they
Yeah.
looking at? How do they want to wear their hair? So it's great. I think that it's a collaborative thing all the time.
Yeah, and one thing before we move on to the next few slides, we just got a question, actually a few questions about the name of your salon and where you guys are located. If I didn't mention it before, Barb and Karen are the owners of Classic Cut Salon. Would you like to give our audience a little bit more information about like where you're located?
We are in Lancaster, Wisconsin. We are really truly in the heart of cow country. Our, our little community is 3,800 people, but we pull from about 5 local communities around us, 25-mile radius or whatever. And we know everybody in our town. We know half the people in the neighboring towns. We have farmers. We have hardworking business people. It's just a community
I
of,
would say we're in between the only metropolis that we are in between would be Dubuque, Iowa, and Madison, Wisconsin. We are like in between the two of them. So if anyone, I mean, even for us, if we want to go shopping, that's where we got to go. But I would say price point wise, like if anyone does go to the city to get something done, it's a completely different price than when they stick
That's
around
true.
local.
yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about appointment booking best practices. Obviously, DaySmart Salon is an appointment booking management software that allows salon managers and salon staff alike to take control of their appointments and their schedule. When it comes to appointment booking best practices, we know that every salon is different. But what I and many of our listeners, I'm sure, want to know is what worked for you. You guys have a ton of clients walking through the door, both new and returning. So I'm sure you guys have a good amount of experience getting clients to book with you. Karen, how do you get clients to sign up for appointments with you?
I make them book before they leave because that's their only option. If they call to try to get in, then they can only get whatever spots are left. And I would say that was something that I really didn't get into until about year 8, 9, or 10 cutting hair. I would say I would let people just call and make whatever appointments, and I would take walk-ins and all this stuff. But I would say I got really diligent about making everyone pre-book about 8 to 10 years in the business. I felt like it was my own life schedule was getting more tight, and so I just needed to know way in advance when I needed my own time off, and I had to make people book. I use my remote access all the time. Obviously, with social media, people message you on social media to make appointments, so then I would, use my phone to book appointments that way. Otherwise, I am old school. I don't do much social media. And I feel that is because I got into hair way before social media became a thing. That my clients were kind of set. I've had some clients that have been with me the entire 20 years. So I don't have the social media presence that I probably should, but I also feel like I'm not recruiting more people to get into my column right now. Although I love new people here and there, I can't be on a marketing blast right now for that. Our new girls, we have new girls that we try to do that with. But for me and for Barb, I mean, our social media is probably
Mine's non-existent. We do have Karen takes care of all the marketing, like anything that goes on our Facebook page or our website. I don't want to do that. I don't hit the send button. I do something crazy. I'm not there. Everyone that works here loves the remote access. When we went to DaySmart, that was the number one. This is the one. We are having this. And that in a small community, we book appointments in the supermarket. We book appointments after church. We book appointments at the baseball game because we can just do it right from our phone. It's readily handily. It's wonderful. And also we are on the main highway 61 in Lancaster. Biggest move I ever made. We doubled our business in 6 months because we were on the main highway, very visible, large parking lots. I did look at some of my numbers after we talked last week. We average about 800 clients for hair, and that's not, the tanning is separate, a month, about 800 a month, and 50 to 60 new clients are added every month, and a lot of walk-ins.
Yeah, this is something that I really want to comment on, I think, for our listeners, but something we really try to emphasize at DaySmart Salon is that appointment booking software is for a range of different people, right? It's for like the young girls, for your example, who are really big into the social media and into that like new digital world and want to put themselves out there online. But it's also for those who maybe don't have as much experience or are just not really interested in like learning more about that and just want like a simple booking platform. That user friendliness is something to really look for when you guys are shopping for new software, because even though we all are transitioning to like the digital age and digital platforms and stuff, it doesn't necessarily mean that you need to be like the most tech savvy person in the world to be able to like leverage these appointment booking platforms. So I'm really glad you guys brought that up, which also kind of leads me to my next point. We talk a lot about like online bookings and social media advertising, but one thing that people often underestimate is the power of word of mouth. How does word of mouth play a role in getting more appointments at your salon?
In our small community, because we know everyone, there's lots of, oh, can you donate to the prom? Can you donate to the ballpark for the new bleachers? Can you donate to this cancer benefit person? We do baskets. We make sure our name is totally visible, our salon, our hours. We put our retail products, some of our other boutique products, an earring. We make it cute and very inviting. And people will go, oh, I got this from Classic Cut Salon. And then all of a sudden, all the customers are talking about, oh, what Sally got at the benefit. That works better for us by doing hands-on stuff visible in the community, which benefits both of us. It benefits the person receiving it and it benefits us.
I was gonna say, someone told me once about that even, I mean, word of mouth being that your hair clients are your walking billboards. So I mean, doing good looking hair does make a big difference too. So the word of mouth from not just us advertising with, you know, local charity things. I mean, the fact that people walk in here, get a good service, and then walk out, they are your walking billboard.
Yeah, that's also valuable. And what Barb mentioned about like using actual like upselling items as a way to like increase word of mouth is so genius, and I think something that a lot of people don't always consider when they want to use like their clients as walking billboards. Barb, you and I talked about this when we first met, but one thing we noticed is that many salons are moving away from walk-ins. For a few reasons. Why, you know, I think maybe walk-in appointments to salons today is seen as something that can be overwhelming for like booking and scheduling, right? But it's also kind of seen as like outdated. Does your salon accept walk-ins? And if so, why have you guys kept walk-in appointments?
We like our men. And a lot of them kind of gauge if there's cars in the parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You can cut a man's hair successfully in 10 minutes. I am not a person that needs to go sit down. I don't want to sit down. I love being around people and out front. If someone walks in, I'm like, heck yeah, I got 9 minutes, let's go. And they know that they're on a time frame. They get in your chair and they check out quickly. And it's like, it doesn't put you behind. It maybe doesn't give you that extra 5 minutes that you maybe could have sat down, but the customer satisfaction is there. And we really appreciate our walk-ins.
I would say we don't necessarily take like a walk-in color or balayage or something like that. That's not necessarily feasible, but we do appreciate, you know, the men, the quicker appointment, the eyebrow wax, the things like that. It does help that we have more staff that can handle that. And we always try to keep that newer stylist that is trying to build a clientele, and they're available to take that walk-in. Like, it's not always Barb or Karen that can take the walk-in, and we have other stylists for that.
Because we know our clientele, we know how long they take. It's not like we're going to have a 5 or 10 or even 15-minute consultation. It's like, yep, we know what you're getting, and we just complete the service successfully, and it helps the bottom line for everybody. we all like more money.
Yeah, we definitely all do. And I think that's so relevant to where we're at right now. It's only August, but we'll be approaching the busy season here, like before we know it. I know, like with the holidays coming up and just salons being like super busy in general with back to school. And walk-in appointments kind of opens up this new opportunity for salons to develop new relationships with people who need quick fixes, right? Like, oh, I need like a quick cut before this holiday party, or oh, my son's going back to school. Can you cut his hair? Like our normal salon is closed or isn't picking up our calls, right? And so that gives you guys the opportunity to swoop up those customers and potentially develop a relationship with them. So I really love those points that y'all made. Cool. Well, moving on to no-shows and cancellations. Again, every salon is different, but a common challenge that salons face, even the most successful ones, is last-minute cancellations and no-shows. Karen, what do you do when clients cancel on you last minute?
I always have a list of men that want in. And because we're a small town, I know they can be here within 5 minutes. I will call them, text them, and say, hey, I had a color cancel. You can come at this time. We usually have no problem filling it. And I usually don't fill a color with a color. That's sometimes this doesn't happen, which is why I'll kind of slam it in with a bunch of men. There's always men that are maybe booked in next week that want in earlier, and I will call them because I know that that spot next week will get refilled. So I don't have a problem with that. When it's like a no call, no show and you have no idea what happened, we have tried to, we're such a small town, we do not actually have a real true cancellation policy. We kind of do everything case by case. We initially try to find out if everything is okay. If somebody canceled due to family emergency, we let it slide because we just don't want to make a mark on anyone in town that we were uncaring about their misfortunate situation. So we do utilize, by golly, the text messages and the emails through DaySmart. We make sure all of our customers, that little checkbox comes up next to their name. They get the day before they get their text message, and then the day of, if they have not replied C to confirm, there's another little box that you can check to resend that. So we have been resending if they have not clicked C to confirm, because we really want them to confirm, or else just to call and cancel.
Yeah, this reminds me too of another point. For those of you who have salons and are active on social media, a few of our other clients say that having a list of people who have DM'd you or private messaged you asking you to squeeze them in, if your schedule was full or you couldn't accept them for that particular day, have a running list of those people who asked you for available appointments and get back to them when no shows happen to say like, hey, I have a last minute filling, or hey, I have a last minute opening of somebody who canceled on me. Would you be willing to be available at this time, this date to replace that client? And just like Karen said, like having that running list or like report of people who are ready to go or people who've expressed interest before can kind of help you replace that revenue that you otherwise like would have been missing from that no show. Barb, how do you use DaySmart Salon software to document your no shows?
We use down in the lower left-hand corner the cancel button, and then when you hit the cancel button, it gives you options as to why are you canceling. And we will actually write a note in there, and then the next time that person tries to book, it comes up on the screen that says, this person has a 7%, this person has a 35% no-show, or no whatever. And then we do have a little slip on the wall behind our computer that only we can see that says we have no time for this person, because they just constantly don't show up or don't do whatever. It's a small list, but there are people that like, oh, I got the chance to go to Walmart. No, sorry, not a good excuse. So it's kind of a touchy situation that we don't like to talk about, but we like our books to be filled also.
Other than the features we discussed, DaySmart Salon has, many other features you guys can use to reduce no-shows and last-minute cancellations. Another one of these includes like text message alerts and confirmations, which Karen had already discussed, but I did want to get a little bit more into that in our next slide. I'm glad you love it. A lot of our clients love it. And this also ties into client relationship management. Arguably, this is one of the most important slides, I think, of this presentation, just because maintaining relationships with your client is what determines if they come back or not. Karen, when we first met, you told me that building relationships and rapport with your clients is so important to you. What are some tips to building and strengthening those relationships with your customer base?
I keep notes on people. I mean, I used to keep better notes. I can mentally remember like so much about what that person told me during their appointment, like where they live, what they do for a living, their kids' names, stuff like that. In the notes section, I think it's under formulas in DaySmart, like I'll have their color formula in there, and then I will have all their kids' names, where they went on vacation. So my clients don't necessarily know that I have all these notes on them, but if I read them moments before they get there, and then I know, oh, they went on vacation, they went to Florida. So they get sat down, we talk about their hair, and then I say, how was Florida? And they literally they cannot believe that I remembered something from so long ago. But I just feel like remembering what they want, what their needs are, how they feel about something, it just builds a rapport that they sometimes just cannot get elsewhere. And they don't forget that.
I love that. They don't forget that. And I think that's, with the digital world, software and these new social media platforms are so helpful, but in a way, we've lost an element of connection with our clients, right? Because we rely too much on technology to build that relationship for us. And something so small like how you mentioned would keep me staying at your salon for sure. The fact that you remember my name and those small details, I mean, I think that'd be important to anyone. So I'm glad you brought that up. Barb, how do you plant the seed per se to get clients to keep coming back and to keep booking with you?
When they're in their chair, say it's just for a haircut, and then they begin to talk about, well, I can't get my hair to do this, or see this picture on my phone, I like this picture. I will say, next time, let's talk about adding 5 foils in the top of your hair, because that will give you the look that you showed me in the picture from your phone. Next time, that's my seed. Next time. And I make them book an appointment so that they have a next time.
Yep, reoccurring appointments is one of the biggest revenue opportunities, and I know you told me that you use that quite a bit.
Utilize that.
We do that at the beginning of the year. Like, we take a whole list of our clients that we do all year long that are our regulars, and their first appointment of the year, I actually book out 13 months so that I have the whole month of January to check to make sure if they want to continue on that path or not. But yeah, reoccurring, you're in, and then we have an actual receipt printer that we print out their whole, here's your calendar, this is when I'll be looking forward to seeing you. Thank you very much.
I think it's great. I mean, even for checkups, right? You go to the doctor, they book you right away to tell you when you got to be back. And I know a lot of salon stylists kind of treat it the same way. So I love that you brought that up. So Karen and Barb, what are some tips that you have to retain your staff?
Our staff. Okay, we have some great staff that have been here a long time. I mean, Barb said 47, 48. I'm at 20. And then we have another girl at like 11 years. 11 years in the hair business is a long time.
Yeah.
And then we have some other 7, 8-ish years, and then we have, of course, everyone has the newbies. So we pay him. We are a commission salon. We do pay 50, 60. So that does help. I know a lot of salons do not pay that, but we make it a priority. We make it so that they that gives them reason to stay. I will speak for Barb when I say she spoils us rotten. Um, we, of course, because we're a commission salon, then the salon buys all the product or whatever. We are well stocked. We have a lot of things. We have so much color, it's ready to go. It's at our fingertips. I don't do anything when I get to work. I come in, I put my little apron on, and I'm ready to go. Everything we need is here. And they get freedom of their schedule. They also get kind of freedom with, doing their own hair and their own nails. The remote access, they can change their schedule from home. They can update it. They can come in late. They can leave early. We just try to make them aware that they try not to let don't leave anyone hanging. But I mean, things come up, and you have to realize that in the hair world. And with women, things happen. Women have babies. Women get sick. Women, they have to go get their kids. They have to go take care of something. I mean, all women know these things. We take care of it. So we just have to be understanding that these things do come up. These things happen. And if you don't give them that little bit of time freedom, then they're gonna go elsewhere. And that's why I feel like the urge of the chair renting world has overtaken, because they want that freedom and they weren't getting it. But in our commission-based salon, we allow it.
Yeah. Yeah. Barb, did you want to add anything onto that?
I'm just very understanding that people have lives, and I want them to have a very good blend of family, work, and entertainment, because each one of those factors enrich the others. You have to have a job to go to the entertainment. You feel good after the entertainment. You feel good coming back to work. And family time is so important. That's my extra time, is family time.
Yeah. Another question we got, and I guess this is from an attendee, is I'm conflicted about our strict cancellation policy. What else can we do about reducing no-shows? So I know we talked a lot about that in our last slide, but Carrie, did you want to kind of reiterate what you stated before?
We utilize the text message, the automatic text message. Now you have to make sure that their mobile cell phone is in the slot under their client info. You can also do an email. Some people, you can check the box for both. They get a text and an email. We have been doing the resend. If they don't check the little box, I know if you've all seen they get the little bubble by their name, and then they don't get the check mark until they reply C. So if they don't reply C, we just resend that message, and it's just the generic message, you have an appointment at Classic Cuts. So they're more annoyed by the message that they are forced to reply C, or if it's not going to work for them, we need them to call and cancel. The confliction that they're speaking of, that we were conflicted on that too. That's why we don't have a set in stone cancellation policy, because if someone cancels and then they tell you something tragic, can you really charge them for half of their services? I would be mortified to tell them that they owed me money. I couldn't. So that's why we don't do that. we just kind of, they get basically a free pass maybe once or twice, and then they kind of become like
We have a conversation.
we have a conversation, and then there is that spot under the cancel button that does say, why did they cancel? So you can put something in there, and it will, when they go to book an appointment, that bubble pops up and says,
Mhm.
this person no-shows a lot. So you can kind of put that on that person. If they become a habitual offender, then they kind of become just they get put on the back burner, so to speak. We don't go out of our way to squeeze them in, but for the most part, we get conflicted because of it's, for us, it's a small town drama problem that we don't want to be associated with, so we just
Yeah.
and we help them in any way, shape, or form. Something comes up, and I will find a spot for them in the next week or so. I'll just say, I understand these things happen, and let's find a new spot for you.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. And I don't know if it's, the fact that you guys come from a small town or are used to working in small towns, but there is a level of thoughtfulness that I've observed from the both of you that is hard to find, I think, in the salon industry, especially for me. I live in a very big city, and it's a very like cutthroat onto the next kind of style. And I do want to encourage like our listeners, and for those of you who listen back to this recap, that like at the end of the day, like thoughtfulness and attentiveness are what really shine through when it comes to like creating great connections with your clients. You can have the best software in the world, right? But if you're a mean hairstylist, or if you're not considerate with your clients, that can really affect your retention levels and the revenue that you're making at your salon altogether. So I appreciate that you guys brought that up. And I did really want to hone that in for our listeners, at least as one of the biggest takeaways. So thank you both. And thank you for being a part of this webinar. We still have some questions trickling through, but I'm going to make sure we reserve those to answer in our follow-up emails. Just a reminder to our listeners as well, you guys will be getting a recording of the session to watch back at any time. But again, thank you, Karen and Barb, for coming on today. This has been so great.